James Duckworth will start from pole position. Results of race 1 set the grid for race number 2. Cal Tressler alongside Woods, the original pole position man, starting out of 3 alongside Blake Scaberis, down to Angus Fogg, who come from 11th on the grid to 8th. Now, he changed an engine and gearbox yesterday, but still not happy with the power of that engine.
Local guy, Foggy, so I mean we'd expect to see him come up through the field a little bit today. Plenty of miles around here in the New Zealand V8 touring cars, so I would have thought one of these things would be pretty easy going for him.
Done a few laps around here over the years, no stranger to it. Here is Angus Fogg, the propertytutors.com entry, black and gold livery aboard car number 39. He raced last week at Hampton Downs, where the final round of the championship was held. A non-points round. And I quoted in the earlier race today, there must be $1 million on the line because it was incredible the pace we saw from the front guys. This is Craig Thompson, the Western City Motorsport entry. Nice gold and black livery for the Hertz sponsored team. Take his position here on the grid. Now tomorrow we change it around a bit. We'll reverse the top 10. Now some of the race 3s we had this year were handicap races. We'd have 10 cars go, 20 seconds later the next 10 cars go, then the fast cars come from the back. We're just going to flip the top 10 around for tomorrow and just spice up the action like they need it anyway.
Yeah, I don't think these guys need any hand when it comes to spicing up the action. Always plenty happening, always elbows out, and we're just getting set on the grid here to get going.
So Tressler and Duckworth on the front row. We're looking towards the back there of Ian Shivers, who finished towards the back of race number 1 with Ruth Bowler and Maddie Lynch. Charlotte Poynton is also in the field, the first female to win a Aussie racing car race last week up at Hampton Downs. The young lady from Newcastle. But these two guys in hot form. The new champ, left-hand side against the former karting star in Cal Tressler for race number 2 of the Aussie Racing Car Super Series. Revs are up around 11,500 RPM and it's lights out this time. Great start from Tressler on the outside. And again, pole position has not aided the guy there. It's been very slippery all day long. So we go through turn number 1. Duckworth, has he done enough? I don't think he has. Tressler's on the better line here. Gets it done.
I thought Tressler might have had a problem there. I don't know if you could see him waving his arms around from inside that car before the start, but no such problems, and he's out in front.
Everybody cleanly through the first time as we head down the back straight for the first time here. 12 laps the distance, and the slipstreaming already ripe here further back in the field. As we go 3 wide, fairly common stuff in the Aussie racing cars. It's down the inside now. Goes Tressler into turn 5, makes it stick. So he's got the lead now. Will he disappear into the distance? We hope not, because race number 1 was on for young and old. As now we see the pole man from race number 1, Craig Woods, who has seen in V8 Utes this year, back in his usual home, the Sinclair Ford, number 64, as they sweep through the final set of turns and come through to complete lap number 1. On board with Angus Fogg.
And from what we saw in race 1, I would expect to see a fair bit of Cal Tressler just making plenty of moves lap after lap on Duckworth. I'd say there'll be a lot of seesawing going on, and I look forward to seeing who comes out on top. Yeah, it reminds me of some of the old school Formula Ford races, this sort of racing.
Absolutely. How's the pace into turn number 1? Duckworth was right on the back of Tressler. Here's Fogg, who we're on board with for a few moments there on the back of Grant Ludby. They're back in 7th and 8th with Kyle Clues and Chris Stevenson inside the top 10. As now they're forcing Tressler to the wrong side of the track. He's going to bring the number 75 car to the middle. And Woods, whole lot of heat, but nowhere to go.
Tressler's blocking pretty hard here when we're early on in this race. I would have thought, you know, the smart move for him with the pace that he had early on would have been just to open that gap up, try and make the car flow a little bit more. There's pretty heavy blocking going on. He's trying hard to keep Duckworth behind him, isn't he? He really wants to be leading, wants to have a clear vision up the road.
You'd think it was lap 11, not lap 2. They sweep on by to complete the second lap, and here's Angus Fogg. Better start through the 6-speed sequential gearbox on these Aussie racing cars.
Bit of wheel spin for Foggy there off the line.
He had the same in race 1 too.
Didn't look as smooth as some of the other guys around him. He got a good jump and then it broke into wheel spin. But as we see with these little cars quite regularly, 2 wide through turn 1, 2, 3, and then 2 wide onto the back straight.
Child's play as it's on now at the front, and Duckworth I said before the confidence was peaking, and it's showing once again as he takes the lead, one of the most aggressive passes you'll ever see.
That was great racing by those guys, and Tressida was massive oversteer moment through turn 2 and 3. Great job to hold on to it. But what it's allowed is Duckworth to pull a bit of a gap here. We'll see if he can hold that, if it's enough to break the slipstream and let it allow him to be able to race away from these guys.
That's Brendan Pingle, the RJ's licorice sponsored entry. We usually see the Spirit of Lockyer Valley down the inside for the man from Gatton in Queensland, Australia, getting muscled out by Blake Scriberis, and Peter Carr also in the mix. Chrissy Woods now go to second while that was happening.
Busy little pack there for fourth, back to about 10th, isn't it? Great racing.
They never fail to deliver. The Aussie racing cars, they'll be back on the tour next year in Australia, kicking off at the Clipsal 500. They're coming back to the Gold Coast as well for a Trans-Tasman Women's Challenge that we'll see up there, where we just were a couple of weeks ago, and finishing their season on the streets of Newcastle. We go there for the first time in 2017, as now Woods to the inside. Is it enough? The survey would say yes.
He's looking a lot racier than he did this morning, isn't he, Woods? Plenty of momentum on board. Great looking car. Looks terrific. Well presented. Great livery on it. Looks fast. Looks hungry.
This is how it all set up as he pulled it down the inside here. And look at this action down. It's bumpy. You know what it's like down there. And these guys would totally feel it like a big speed bump, particularly right in the middle of the corner there. They're getting more and more closer to the curb. They were staying off that yesterday. But how gutsy was that for a pass?
Around the outside, absolutely brilliant. And there's that oversteer moment that I was talking about from Tressida. He was even cheeky to try and gather it up and have a little look on up the inside at turn 4, but didn't get the job done.
So West Blake Scaveras now lining up. Another one of the many karting stars that have stepped up into Aussie racing cars in the recent years. As Woods, he's got the lead, is going to smash the lap record here. As we're on board with Angus Fogg, 8th position for the Handland Downs go-kart sponsored, number 39, along with Property Tutors and all the good supporters that have backed him for the past couple of weeks here in New Zealand. And it's just a little bit of a margin now, first to second, probably the biggest we've seen all weekend long, as Tressida runs a little bit wide, protect the line, but no, he'll lose that position. He's back to 4th. Certainly have been turning the action on this weekend. We set a no points round for the championship, so the pressure's off, kind of.
Kind of. There's a bit of a gap, as you mentioned, opening up between second and third there, but it looks like Duckworth, he's just had a bit of a surge in the last lap, and he's coming back at Woods. Woods has just set the fastest lap and the new lap record on that previous one at a 13.44, so he went purple sectors everywhere. A lot of pace, but Duckworth's coming back at him. New purple sector for the first one, so massive amount of pace, bit of sun coming out, track's drying, and with that, these boys are upping the speed. It's
incredible, the pace of these guys and girls out there today through the final turn and up past the pit lane here.
Duckworth with a big oversteer moment through the last corner and slid it all the way out to the concrete verge. Commitment levels are very, very high.
It's scary enough in a supercar. Can you imagine going off the track up there in one of these? Better them than us.
Better them than us, that's for sure.
So Duckworth, it only took him 2 race wins to get a championship. It was all about consistency for the number 10 RDA Brakes entry. And Craig Woods trying to hold the position here. Go back to Scaberis in 3rd position, just defensive there on the run. The Sinclair Ford sponsored number 64. As we did see earlier today, his transponder not giving us the times for it right now. So Duckworth is running 2nd, as you see it. Scaberis and Tressida, the top 4. Peter Carr, then Pingle, Ludby, Angus Fogg, Kyle Blues, and Chris Stevenson.
Might have had a bit of a tune on that car of Tressida's between race 1 and race 2, and he looked very racy early on, and he's dropping off the back there a little bit. I suspect maybe a tyre pressure adjustment or something with that car. Try and tune it up a little bit, give it a bit better race run, but it doesn't look like it's working well for him.
Tyre pressures make a big difference in any kind of car, don't they?
Oh, absolutely, and 1 or 2 pounds here or there, particularly in these little cars, is going to make a massive difference. But if they've upped it a little bit, that's what probably has helped him in those first opening laps where he looked very racy. As we see Duckworth, big move down the inside for the lead, and now he's just huge blocking going on, huge blocking.
Man.
We've still got 6 laps to go.
And right against the concrete wall on the horse track side. Watch Blake Scaveris here in 3rd position. He could be the big winner out of this. These two guys argue over position. And Duckworth pushes his way up to 1st, but back to 2nd. Actually, there was points for lead changes. Wow. They sweep down to the turn 7 hairpin. Very defensive now from Woods in car number 64. He's had 3 race wins so far in the championship. Race 1 back in Adelaide, same 2 at Sydney Motorsport Park, and race 2 just last weekend at Hampton Downs.
I think he was pretty fortunate there into the hairpin. He dived pretty early, had a lot of brake pressure on, had a little lock-up, but the 2 guys behind him came together, and that gave him an opportunity to just stretch his legs a little bit. But as we've seen over the first 6 laps, these guys will all bunch up pretty quickly. That Mustang looks like it's got pretty good aero, good in a straight line.
That camera shot from coming into turn number 1 really gives them the definition of how on the edge these cars are as Ruth Bowler goes a lap down aboard car number 9. He's back in 26th position here, lap 8 of 12.
He's done the right thing. He's gotten out of the way. He's out there just trying to enjoy himself, enjoy his racing, have a little bit of fun. These guys are taking it pretty serious, and they would have come across him and he would have gone, oh my goodness, I need to get out of here.
So down into turn 5 and right across the curb.
Duckworth using massive amounts of curb there. I would have thought they would have bottomed out by the amount of curb that he's used, but it doesn't look like it's hurt him. It looks like he's been able to edge a little bit closer. Oh, big move from Tressida. As I said before, I thought he was going backwards, and now he is coming forward. They're keeping us on our toes.
That's exactly what he did in race number 1. Of course, there's penalties for these guys that do win. They put little restrictors inside the engines to tune them back a bit to bring them towards the field, similar to what you'd see in NASCAR. As the safety car looks like it's being called out our window here. Yellow flags have been waved, so something's happened around the circuit. At the best time, perhaps for Woods. Still showing green. It's the car on the right-hand side that stopped on the main straight here. Still showing green. The safety car board's been shown, so we'll come back to that soon. So like I say, they usually give them a 4 mil restrictor to block the airflow off. These guys have been given 8 millimeters, which is slowing them down a little bit. Hasn't slowed them down too much.
No, but that maybe is the speed discrepancy that we're seeing with Woods out in front. You know, he's probably just got a little bit more airflow going through the restrictor. A bit more airflow means a bit more fuel going in, a bit more fuel and air together means a bit more power, and away they go. So, I mean, it's a good way to do it. There's pros and cons either way, but I think for a category like this, it produces the racing that we're seeing today. It bunches it up. We don't have somebody driving away. Nothing worse than sitting down to watch your favourite sport and knowing who's going to win before it even starts. So, I mean, this is exciting.
Becomes a bit of a foregone conclusion, but not the case today as the Lexus safety car comes out. I believe it's the Tarrant car that stopped on the main straight. It's on the right-hand side. They've deemed it an unsafe position. Not that needed to bunch the field up, but it will re-energise this race.
Good call from the race director, though. I mean, that is in a precarious position there coming on to the straight. It will only take one of these cars to drop a left rear wheel off onto that wet verge and end up tagging that car sitting on the inside. So, right call was made. Let's clear this car and let these boys go hammer and tong for the last 2 or 3 laps.
Yeah, like the other 9 laps haven't really counted, have they?
Exactly. Little reset period here, and then from the craziness that we've seen early on, imagine what it's going to be like if it's a 2-lap sprint to the finish.
They can all breathe for a lap now.
We can breathe.
Exactly. It's been full on all season long, and the best vantage points have been taken right around this track today. It's in a nice little part of the world here too, Pukekohe, a little small town, about 45 to 50 minutes from Auckland. You see in the background, that is the main town district. Very, very busy this weekend with lots of fans pouring into this iconic. You can feel the history when you come into Pukekohe Park. They've been racing here for so many years. The New Zealand Grand Prix was raced here for many, many years back in the 70s.
Has a very similar feel to what Sandown does for us back in Australia, doesn't it? You come into this place, it has similar hues, even the layout of the track and the way that the horse racing facility is through the centre of it. Very, very similar. And one of the other key elements of this track that has that is similar to Sandown is the patchwork track that we've got. You know, those bumps that we've got. Sandown is identical. Multiple surfaces, lots of bumps to deal with. And those bumps make these cars look very exciting. I actually wish I was out there in one looking at these boys and the way they're working. Looks like a lot of fun, absolutely. A lot of fun.
Here's some super slow-mo shots of cars further back. That's Brendan Pingle on the absolute edge, heading through turn number 1. He was the 2015 champion.
That is what we call oversteer, that one. That is excitement levels plus.
Get that guy in a sprint car on the dirt.
Absolutely.
Gets a lot of support from the Spirit of Lockyer Valley region. His father Derek was a racer back in the Australian Drivers' Championship days. He actually finished runner-up in 1987. Before his career was put on hold in a nasty incident at the Adelaide Grand Prix support race later that year. Came back and raced in the old Formula 4000, old Formula Holden series in the mid-2000s, but these days looking after Brendan's efforts in the Aussie Racing Car Series, and support from the Lockyer Valley region in Queensland, where the team live and work and enjoy it all. So the 99 car of Tarrant, broken gearbox is the word on this car, so they'll tow it back into the pits. And there's the tribute out to one of Cole Tressiter's close friends in Nathan, who sadly passed away in the lead up to this event, so he's doing it for Nathan this weekend. The team's carrying the stickers on the car, including Angus Fogg. Angus Fogg, a lot of experience in racing over the years too, part of the Team Kiwi outfit back in the first years in the V8 Supercars back in the day with the late Jason Richards.
Yeah, he's been around a long time, Foggy. Very, very accomplished racer in his own right, and has been around for a long time. As you mentioned, supercars, New Zealand, V8 touring cars over here, and now trying his hand at these Aussie racing cars. Maybe he watched last year and went, geez, these things look like fun, deal me in for one of them.
And how many drivers have we seen sit back and watch this and go, I could see myself in one of these? You included.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, they look like lots and lots of fun, and we've seen heaps of supercar drivers and race drivers just get to the end of their careers and then want to jump in these things for a little bit of fun. Paul Morris is one that comes to example. Yeah. He's jumped into a lot of things. The great Neil Crompton's jumped in and had a bit of a run over time as well. So we've seen heaps of people, and look, it's great racing, but it's like any category. The guys that are in them all the time, they're the ones that will come to the front, particularly the skilled guys, and we see that.
The lights are out. Alexa safety car is heading back to pit lane, and it's going to be a one-lap screamer. Never really understood what that actually means, but it sounds good.
I don't think it matters for these guys. We saw on the first lap of the race it was a screamer, so why would this one be any different?
Settle in. Craig Woods is the man they're chasing. That's Duckworth second. It's Tressiter third. Lex Caveras, Peter Carr, Brendan Pingle, and the rest of the 25 cars that have survived here in race number 2 at Pukekohe Park as they come around to get the green flag, and 11 turns of action to come your way.
Woods has just controlled that restart brilliantly. He got a good jump. Duckworth is all over the back of him. Look at him, looking for a run. Geez, that car of his is nervous through turn 1, but he hangs on to it well.
The amount of times he's done that this weekend, sooner or later, we'll come back to the moment because he's taken the lead. And could that have been too early?
I was thinking that, yeah. I thought he would have been happy to sit there through turn 4, get a good run up the back straight and make his move into the hairpin, but he's pulled the trigger early. And now he's going super defensive.
Who's going to brake first? Who's going to have the best brakes? Who's going to be more brave into the turn? It's Duckworth, but he needs to get the car across. He's done that, but Woods isn't going to give up. Pingle gets on the grass on the outside, and just like we saw in race number 1, it's going to go right down to the wire.
I think Woods was looking for the hang on the outside and then cross it over. Oh,
he's got him.
Big move, though, up the inside.
And
he's
late.
Oh.
Pushed him out enough to get it done, you'd think. Can Duckworth stay there? No, he can't. Tressiter in a good spot. But Craig Woods is going to hold on here. He put the elbows up at the final turn. He got pole position and now roars around in a one-lap screamer to take the checkered flag in race number 2 of the Aussie racing cars.
That was brilliant. I think brilliant. Absolutely. Those last 4 corners between Woods and Duckworth was absolutely great racing and terrific to watch. The way those boys, big move from Woods around the outside at fourth last corner, and then he hung on there, was able to stay up the inside, and then the over and under at the hairpin. That was
incredible.
cracking.
Less than 2/10 of a second. Woods to Duckworth. Tressida was third, then Carr, Scaberis, Pingle, Grant Ludby, Angus Fogg inside the top 10 again with Kyle Clues and Chris Stevenson completing the top 10. Charlotte Pointed inside the top 15 in position 11. Sean Rose 13th. Sam Milton in 16th. Back to Kent Quinn in 20th spot. Zach Best down to Michael Rinken, Ian Shivers, and of course Mark Tarrant, who went out